Yah, please fill me with the Ruach HaKodesh, that I may speak your written words with boldness to those who listen. I ask all these things in your Son's name, Yeshua HaMashiach's name. Amen. Before we start, we'll read the Shema, listen and obey. Children of Yah, pay careful attention and respond. Yahweh is our power and authority. Yahweh works in unity with himself. And you shall act upon your love to Yahweh, your power and authority, with your thoughts and mind, and with your entire body, and with all the muchness that you have. Amen. For today's reading, we're going to read Shmuel Aleph, 1 Samuel chapter 1, and Hannah's prayer in chapter 2. There was a man from Yamatayim, Sophim, in the hills of Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah, the son of Yerakam, the son of Elihu, the son of Toku, the son of Zuph, from Ephrat, who had 2 wives, one named Hannah and the other Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. This man went up from his city every year to worship and sacrifice to Yahweh Svaot in Shiloh. The 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Pinchas, were Kohanim of Yahweh there. One day, when Elkanah was sacrificing, he gave a portion of the sacrifice to his wife Peninnah and portions to each of her sons and daughters. But Hannah, he gave a double portion, because he loved Hannah, even though Yahweh had kept her from having children. Her rival taunted her and made her feel bad, because Yahweh had kept her from having children. He did the same every year, and each time she went up to the house of Yahweh, she taunted her, so much that she would cry and not eat. Her husband Elkanah said to her, "Hannah, why are you crying? And why aren't you eating? Why be so sad? Am I not better to you than 10 sons?" So Hannah got up after they had finished eating and drinking in Shiloh. Eli the Kohen was sitting on by his seat by the doorpost of the temple of Yahweh. In deep depression, she prayed to Yahweh and cried. Then she took a vow. She said, "Yahweh Svaot, if you will notice how humiliated your servant is, if you will remember me and not forget your servant, but will give your servant a male child, then I will give him to Yahweh for as long as he lives, and no razor will ever come on his head." She prayed for a long time before Yahweh, and as she did, Eli was watching her mouth. Hannah was speaking in her heart. Her lips moved, but her voice could not be heard. So Eli thought she was drunk. Eli said to her, "How long are you going to be staying drunk? Stop drinking your wine." But Hannah answered, "No, my lord, I am a very unhappy woman. I have not drunk either wine or other strong liquor. Rather, I have been pouring out my soul before Yahweh. Don't think of your servant as a worthless woman, because I have been speaking from the depth of my distress and anger." Then Eli replied, "Go in peace. May the God of Israel grant what you have asked of him." She replied, "May your servant find favor in your sight." So the woman went on her way, and she ate, and her face was no longer sad. They got up early in the morning and worshipped before Yahweh, then returned and came to their house in Ramah. Elkanah had sexual relations with Hannah, his wife, and Yahweh remembered her. She conceived, and in due time she gave birth to a son, whom name was Shmuel, because I asked Yahweh for him. The husband, Elkanah, went up with all his household to offer the yearly sacrifice to Yahweh and fulfill his vow. But Hannah did not go up, explaining to her husband, "Not till the child has been weaned, then I will bring him, so that he can appear before Yahweh and live there forever." Her husband Elkanah answered her, "Do what seems good to you. Stay here until you have weaned him. Only may Yahweh bring about what he said." So the woman stayed behind and nursed the child until she weaned him. After weaning him, she took him up with her, along with 3 young bulls, a bushel of flour, and a skin of wine, and brought him to the house of Yahweh in Shiloh. Even though he was just a child, after the bull had been slaughtered, the child was brought to Eli. And she said, "My lord, as surely as you live, my lord, I am the woman who stood here near you, praying to Yahweh. I prayed for this child, and Yahweh has granted the request I asked of him. Therefore, I too have loaned him to Yahweh as long as he lives. He is on loan to Yahweh." And he prostrated himself before Adonai. Then Hannah prayed. She said, "My heart exults in Yahweh. My dignity has been restored by Yahweh. I can gloat over my enemies because of my joy of your saving me. No one is as holy as Yahweh, because there is none to compare with you, no rock like our God. Stop your proud boasting. Don't let arrogance come from your mouth, for Yahweh is a God of knowledge, and he appraises actions. The bows of the mighty are broken, while the feeble are armed with strength. The well-fed hire themselves for bread, while those who were hungry hunger no more. The barren woman has borne 7, while the mother of many wastes away. Yahweh kills and makes alive. He brings down to the grave, and he brings up. Yahweh makes poor, and he makes rich. He humbles, and he exalts. He raises the poor from the dust, lift up the needy from the trash pile. He gives them a place with leaders and assigns them seats of honor. For the earth's pillars belong to Yahweh. On them he has placed the world. He will guard the steps of his faithful, but the wicked will be silenced in darkness. For it is not by strength that a person prevails. Those who fight Yahweh will be shattered. He will thunder against them in heaven. Yahweh will judge the ends of the earth. He will strengthen his king and enhance the power of his anointed. Elkanah went home to Ramah, while the child began ministering to Yahweh under the direction of Eli the Kohen. So today, maybe you can reflect and meditate and think on how you can love your Creator after having read and listened to chapter 1 and the prayer of chapter 2 of 1 Samuel. How can we love others? Think and meditate on that as well. Produce spiritual fruit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, humility, and self-control. And bear one another's burdens, that one day we too can produce fruit. Men from our seed and women from our wounds. For those who can't, maybe they can adopt. We'll end with the Aaronic blessing. Yahweh will kneel before you presenting gifts, and he will guard you with a hedge of protection. Yahweh will illuminate the wholeness of his being toward you, bringing order, and he will provide you with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yahweh will lift up the wholeness of his being and look upon you, and will set in place all you need to be whole and complete. Amen.